So I have a teeny tiny problem. I cannot resist stationery. You see, I have 5 pair of shoes. I have 2 bags, but please ignore my washing machine. So here, these are maybe 20% of my journals and planners. Last year we moved house and I decluttered most of it. I trashed some of them, sold another few that only had a few pages written in. People still bought them. So yeah, let's talk about that and how I solved it, because I did, really. I need to find a way to part with these. Otherwise, I solved it. So I kind of was always like that, but I think it's gotten worse over the past several years. I used to have a bullet journal or a Filofax where I would plan my life, and that gave me the paper and pen outlet that I always crave. And then all of my communication and planning moved online, and I was, I think, craving doing something with pen and paper. So I would buy a notebook, start writing something in it, not knowing really how I would use it, and just give up after a few pages. I thought that was just my peculiarity, but recently I started reading this really cool book, The Extinction of Experience, and the author dedicates a whole chapter on handwriting. She gives an example of a cook, I believe, or someone who wrote a recipe book, and how this woman discovers her notes from 10 years ago. That handwriting evokes memories in her. She can remember in what emotional state she was, where she was when she was writing those pages. And she says, I would never have had these memories if I was looking at a typed in page of text in Notion. And that's so true for me. And so that was kind of a recent realization, but already last year, it's a recurring theme on this very baby small channel. I always talk about self-efficacy, and last year I was like, okay, planners is another thing, or journals that I buy, I start, I give up, and this dampens my feeling of self-efficacy because I am just a give-upper. And I wanted to find a way to use pen and paper, but without stopping after 2 weeks. And since I managed to complete an entire journal and a quarter of a new one in the past year and a half, I thought it's time for me to make this video. Okay, so here's how my thinking went. I naturally love watching stationery YouTube, like Hobonichi unboxings, how I fill out my Hobonichi, how I fill out my Filofax and stuff like this. And whenever I watch these videos, I obviously get very, very excited and want to order a planner right away. Actually, knowing that about myself, I kind of try to refrain from watching them. But I get excited and I order a planner with a very vague idea of what am I actually going to do with it. And there are literally so many ways to use a notebook. It could be a memory keeper, like your thought partner, journal for processing your emotions, GTD system. You really need to have a purpose, I think. Well, at least my experience told me that I lacked a purpose. And what I eventually came up with is think about the planners, notebooks that I kept from my childhood. What were they? Why am I keeping them? Why do I value them? And one of the things I found is notebooks, like literally composition notebooks that I would write to my then boyfriend who used to live in New Zealand. And instead of writing letters, I would buy an entire composition notebook. I don't know how many pages there are in it, like 80, 100, and write the whole, fill out the whole notebook and ship it to New Zealand. And we're married now. We have those notebooks now. I reread it, they make me cringe, but I really value them. And it's the mundane things. When I talk in the early 2000s about the dial-up internet connection speed, or I talk about, the food that I liked, or the things that I watched, I am personally less interested to read about the emotions I had at the time and more interested in just how life used to be 20 years ago. And I thought to myself, well, if I cherish so much that record of these early 2000s that I've created, then why not keep doing that? And so this is how this daily journaling habit was born. I finally had like a purpose. I knew what I wanted to write about. Now I just needed to make it consistent. And here, my training as a cognitive scientist / educator really helped me. And I know a lot of things about behavior change, and I don't know if I already said it to you. There's a huge gap between knowing the science and actually applying it to yourself. So it took me a little bit of time to decide that, okay, now I need to put into use what I know. And it did work. And I'm going to share what I used, very simple, with you. So there are many strategies actually regarding behavior change and specifically habit formation. My two favorites that I consistently rely on are habit stacking and micro habits, atomic habits, small habits, B.G. Fogg. Like, every author calls it differently, but as far as I know, B.G. Fogg from Stanford was the one who actually came up with that concept. Although nothing in science comes out of the vacuum, so probably he also based it on some previous research. So when I was watching videos about people journaling, I very often came across people doing this in the evening before going to bed, reflecting on their day. And I've tried this and I always failed to stick to it because in my case, well, I have some vision issues, and I personally just do not aesthetically enjoy paper and pen because I cannot see that well and I'm tired and my eyes are dry. I do not enjoy this process in the evening at all. That's the last thing I want to do. It feels like a chore. However, in the mornings with the not so bright, but like, pleasant, soft light out of the window and, a new fresh page and a pen and paper. That's my sweet spot. And actually another strategy for behavior change is making it pleasant. So like by moving this habit from the evening to the morning, I made it much more pleasurable. And then in terms of habit stacking, I needed to attach this new behavior, I will journal every morning, to something that is already happening automatically no matter what, every single morning. And for me, it was drinking my Mocha Meister brewed cup of coffee. It happens only once a day, so there is no way I would be thinking to myself, should I do it now or in 2 hours when I have another cup of coffee? No, I only have that one cup of coffee every single day in the morning after I wake up. And as I drink my coffee, I journal. So that's habit stacking, attaching a new behavior to something that is already automatic. Now, next, to make the behavior sustainable, our goal is to make that habit automatic, so that just as I never ask myself or think, do I really want coffee? No, I just have that coffee. I'm not thinking about it. Same for journaling. In order for this action to stop asking yourself, is today the day? Or maybe today I don't have the energy or attention span or to do that. For us to skip this stage and the behavior to become automatic, we need to repeat it from 18 to 254, if I'm not mistaken, days, for potentially a very long time. The more complicated the action, the more days it requires. And in order to repeat it every day, the best way is for us to be cued by something to do the behavior. Now, my husband was very kind and he basically places the journal along with my pack of Sarasa clip-on pens, my favorite pen at the moment for the past 4 years, I believe. He places them next to my coffee, which he also makes, by the way, which acts as a direct cue. And then there is the tiny step approach. Even though I ended up going for these daily Moleskine journals, which have 1 page per day, it does not mean that I need to fill out an entire page every single day. 3 sentences was my target. I think anyone can write 3 simple sentences. I always write today about yesterday's day in the morning as we drink our coffee. If I want to if I want to write more, it's totally fine, but I absolutely don't have to. 3 is enough. And so for me, solving for these 2 things, knowing why, what value it brings me, how it should look like for that value to materialize, and also adjusting my behavior, because just knowing that something is important for us doesn't mean that we're doing it. Think about smoking, weight loss, exercising, sleeping, blah, blah, blah. We still do the wrong thing, or we cannot manage ourselves to do the right thing. So it's like solving this part, but then also taking some action regarding how to do the behavior change and how to make it sustainably. And so these two things led to the fact that I bought the 2024 journal, I think sometime end of February, and I missed 30 days in that 1 year for the most part, because when I travel, I don't bring my journal with me. I like to pack very lightly, just a backpack, so that would take up like 1/5 of the space. And then in this one, I don't think I skipped a day so far, so it's almost end of April. Yeah, it's been 4 months and it's completely filled. So initially I would only write the memory itself. And by the way, if you happen to pause and read it, it's really mundane. Like I sometimes write the price of the croissant because I know that in 2050, I personally, doesn't mean you would find this interesting, but I would find like these small details interesting. And this is why I try to capture how the world looks like, my world, today in 2025. And so initially I would just focus like on what I did and like the details of that environment. But then I started adding things. I started adding complexity once I felt that I actually have no trouble at all following this consistently. At first it was just me putting down how much I slept, which I get from my Whoop. I've made a video about it, like changing in terms of sleep. So I put my sleep score, and I would also put my weight. I use a Withings, the scale. So I tracked these two things. And then much later on, I believe I only started this year. Yeah, I started doing the monthly reviews. So at the end of the month, I flip through all the pages for that month, like briefly reread them, transfer any important events, interesting events, any trips I took, vacation days, people I've met. I also reflect on my annual goals, quarterly goals, and see how I did this month in relation to those goals. So that was really recent. And I think the most recent thing that I've added is just having like a post-it like that on the next day. Like whenever I open it in the morning, I basically fill out yesterday, but I see today's day page, and on that day I have that posted that for the past 2 months, as long as I've been doing it. No, now it says what is the one thing that I need to do today, and that helps me so much because immediately in the morning I'm like, that's the thing I'm doing, the work-wise, the most important thing I'm doing today. And last month it was stop stimulation because I was like trying to split up with my phone, which is going really well. It's been 60 days, it's going amazing. And so that was another reminder that was setting me up for the day. I did not add these things right away. I waited for almost an entire year before I started, complicating, because I think it's detrimental to the automaticity of the future habitual behavior if you make it too complicated. So I feel like wait out for as long as possible before making your process, include many steps. Start with something simple and do it until you're like, no matter what, I'm doing it. So really, you guys, this fixed my craving for pen and paper and stopped me from continuously purchasing new planners, because now I have my thing. I have the planner. I do get the pleasure that I crave from writing in it. And I think it's about finding that one thing, or maybe for you it's two things. If you're stuck in the world of digital tools and you need that, then the way to approach it, or at least it was in my case, is not just randomly buying planners whenever we have like this craving, but instead try to find a very sustainable way that matters to you to use pen and paper and stick with it, because it gives me so much more pleasure than when I was hopping from one place to another. And I cannot wait to have like a stash, like 10 years, 15 years of these Moleskine daily journals, which ended up being my choice for these memories. I really hope that this video will help you find planner peace. If you now got the urge to jump on Amazon and order a Moleskine or some other planner, I urge you to stop, because this was not the intention of this video. And it's actually watching videos that left me feeling like this that made me feel even worse. So please step back from that feeling. Give yourself at least 1 week, wait it out, just keep thinking for the entire week. So what is it I want to create? I love paper, I love pens, what is it I want to create with it? Sit with this feeling, think about, and then maybe baby steps, and eventually you'll find your own planner piece. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next weekend. Bye.